at some point. And if you have a blanket, I was going to start with a little rolled up blanket. Yeah, roll it up like you would roll up a yoga mat. And we'll start with that in the lumbar spine or your waist, wherever you feel like your waist is, where you have that little narrowing and the little curve in the lower back. We're going to start with some movement. So we're going to start just turning yourself over onto your side, but just letting the rolled up blanket roll right into the side of your waist. You'll feel some lower, the very low ribs, your rib cage. Go a few more times to each side here, and then we'll go up a bit. We'll go up into the thoracic spine. Okay, so just warming up, starting in that place where it's fits relatively well. It's not too much intensity of the pressure. And so when you go up a little bit into the middle of the rib cage, you might start on your side. And then from your side, roll to the middle and then over to the other side. So you're kind of right under your shoulder blades in the wide kind of barrel part of your middle back. But let's go another couple of times to each side in this position. We'll go up once more. And so if you come up and just have a look at your blanket and see if it's gotten a little bit flat, you can re-roll if you're comfortable with it. Kind of squish down, you can just keep it there. And then still with your arm up, right across the upper back. So right across the bulk of your shoulder blades, drop your head, just find comfortable weight over that roll and just take it a few times more side to side. And another time or two to each side. But then we'll come up off of the blanket. You can set that aside. And then make your way onto your hands and your knees and just come into child's pose for a breath or two. So knees wide, toes together, arms long. Settle the spine, let the spine and the rib cage and the shoulders settle with your breath. Take 4 or 5 breaths here. And then come to all fours, hands and knees under hips, wrists under shoulders. Take a breath in. Pull the shoulders down, the head and the neck a little bit forward. Drop the abdomen, lift the sit bones. Exhale, bring your chin to your chest, round into the upper back, round down through the mid back and the lower back, pulling the navel in. Take one more breath. You're inhaling through a lengthy arch in your spine. And then a lengthy arch up, cat back. Curl your toes under, lift your knees, and come into downward facing dog. Engage support across the upper back, shoulders, upper arms. Turn your armpits to face one another. Two more breaths here. Shift forward into what feels like the high push-up position. Soften your knees, shift back. Go back and forth like that 4 more times. Then we bring your feet forward, middle of your mat. Slide your hands back, keep your knees bent. Soft knees, forward fold. Bring your hands to your hips, flex into the upper back, all through the upper back, come all the way up. And then let's, from the top of your mat, find a lunge pose with your right foot stepping back. Yeah, and then just sink to the point where you're comfortable holding this support in your legs and your hips. And then let's take the hands behind the back, interlace your fingers, and the shoulder blades back, heart a little bit upward. Two more breaths. Let's stay here with the legs. Bring the palms together Then dip down a little bit to rotate elbow to knee, right elbow, left knee. Two more breaths. Reach both hands to the floor and push off the back foot and step it forward. A little hop of that back foot forward. Come to half forward fold. Big inhale, long spine. Exhale, soft, bent knees, forward fold. Inhale, come up. Arms overhead, palms touch. Exhale, palms to your heart. Okay, so second side, same thing. Let the left foot go back onto the ball of your foot. And then the opposite interlace of your hands, fingers behind you. Pull the shoulders back, knuckles down, lift the chest. Two more breaths. Palms forward, dip down, turn, rotate, left elbow, right knee. Let the twist go, reach both hands to the floor. Again, push off the back foot, pop it forward, half forward fold, breathe. Exhale. Inhale, come up. Palms touch overhead, lower your palms to your heart. Good. And then we'll balance in tree pose for 5 breaths, eagle pose for 5 breaths, same leg. Do first a tree pose and then an eagle pose on the same side, and then switch. You can be off the mat, you can be at a wall, be where you feel like you have support to balance. You can challenge the action of balancing. Couple more breaths. Taller, if you're in tree pose, taller. Good, and if you can manage it to just come straight into the other pose. One more. Breathe. We just find mountain pose for a breath. Come back to the breath. Come back to a feeling of ease, balance of sensation in your ankles, your limbs. Second side. One more breath, reach. Unwind, unbind. Step back into your mat if you were off of your mat. Okay, and then let's squat a few times, okay? And then find for you what is that kind of optimal positioning of your feet. You might be a little wider with your toes turned out so that you can just sit back and then stand up, pushing into your feet. If that's not all the way down where your hips drop below your knees, it might just be kind of hips even with your knees. And then you come up and do 3 more. And take that slightly wider stance with the feet turned out. And then with your arms in the eagle pose position, elbow over elbow, forearms crossed, fingers to palms, and then just get tall, bend your knees, drop your arms, drop your spine, drop your head. Exhale, drop a little more, 1 more breath. Let the arms come apart. Roll back up to stand or lift through your upper back, and then take the opposite cross of your arms. And again, exhale, drop, take 3 big breaths. Let the arms come apart and then come all the way back down. Good. And then let's go back with the right foot, out with the left toes. Reach up, maybe get long and open like that starfish, and then fall sideways into triangle pose. Let's exhale, bring the right hand down. I'm going to stay wide like this and just move my left foot out a little more left, like one little heel toe, and then maybe just point my right foot a little more forward, and then see if I can stay, flip my block over just to put a little height, and do this wide stanced, revolved triangle pose. Just play with a wider stance and see what it feels like. Or do you have more mobility, or do you have less mobility? How does it change the feeling of the pose to just be a little wider? Big stretch in that back right calves. One more breath. Bring the left hand back to the shin and come back into triangle pose. And with your feet set like this, where you feel stable in the revolved triangle pose, drop right hand back to the floor or to your block, and then rotate again. And then the regular triangle pose. Good. Well, come on. I'll go the other way. Couple more breaths. Good, and look down, and then find your feet again. Find maybe both hands on the floor while you move your right foot over a little more to the right, and keep the same wide space between your feet. Maybe just bring your left foot to point a little bit more forward, and then triangle pose, wide stance. Block, maybe block. Good, and then just keeping the same legs, right hand back to shin, do a little shift through your hips, thigh bones and hips, and come back into triangle pose. And then rotate again. Bring left hand to the floor, to the block. And then release, triangle pose. And then reach up, come all the way up. Put your feet together. Yeah, stand in mountain pose and take a breath. Okay, and then let's, from the back of your mat, separate your feet a little wider than hips with your toes turned out. Take a breath in, reach up, exhale, soft knees fold. And then drop your hips and just play in a little crow pose setup, right? So you might just try to drop into the squat, see what the squat feels like. Start to feel your feet in the squat. And then doing that placement of outer knee to kind of where your deltoids meet your triceps. Feel the weight tip forward. If you can maintain a sense of your center of gravity, inner core, sense of inner core, where your weight shifts, and you rebalance as you come more into supporting your weight in your hands, and less in your feet and your hips. And then if you want to play in the balance, stick knees into backs of upper arms. And then you're out. Forward, and you just sit in any comfortable seat. Cross legs, legs in front of you. And then let's go out with the left arm around the back into cow face pose, the arms of cow face pose. Right arm reaches up, fingers drop back. 4 or 5 breaths. The arms go, and then take the right arm behind your back. Crawl the fingers toward the spine, toward the shoulder blade. Take the left arm up. Hold, press. Let the arms go, give the shoulders a bit of a roll. Realized I had my phone sitting right next to the computer. Some nice little ambient piano interludes. So legs out in front of you. Can you roll to your spine? Legs extended. All the way down. Arms over your head or out to the sides, and then take your legs up into the air. And then kind of swing your legs a little bit more toward like plow pose, where you're trying to just roll your hips up off the floor. But just nice and smooth. On the exhale, so you get a nice, strong use of your abdomen. And a little bit of spinal roll. Do one more. Good, and then let your feet come to the floor. Bring your shoulder blades in. Tuck in, one shoulder blade, one arm at a time, heels under your knees, and then come into bridge pose. Exhale, press your feet. Lift right through the middle of your glutes. If you can engage more support, rolling your arms under a little more, externally rotating at the shoulders. Two more breaths. Arms overhead. Spine to the floor, hips to the floor. Good. And so let's take right thigh over left thigh. Let both knees fall to the right. Come back up to stand on that left foot. Just bring the knees back into center. Drop again to the right. Once more. Good, and then let's uncross, take the opposite cross, and then take both knees again. to the right. So into your standard fare recline twist. So when you're ready to return, return to your back. And so you have your left leg over your right leg. If your legs were bound in the twist, then you're just going to let knees fall to the left. And then back up onto the foot, onto the right foot, drop again. And then when you're back up, uncross and recross if you want to have your legs crossed to drop knees to the left, right knee over left, recline twist. And let the legs slide apart and return to your back. And let's bring the hands together behind the head or stand your feet on the floor and then take a few rounds of breath where on the inhale, you're looking back, you're pressing your elbows into the floor, a slight arch in the back, a comfortable arch in the back. And then the exhale is just a comfortable rounding up. Doesn't have to be super intense. You might just let it be more about breath. And a natural just arching and re-arching, arching and de-arching, flexing and extending. So let's do two more. And then we'll let the head go and extend the arms long overhead. Let's maybe hook the thumbs together, take both legs into extension, and then take both legs over to the right. And then pick up your arms, your head, and your shoulders, and move them to the right. And then maybe you go a little further with your legs, if that's comfortable, if it's available. Take one more breath. And then bring heels back to center, bring head and arms back to center, heels to the left, arms, shoulders, head to the left, reach. Stay a little lengthy through the left arm. Just take another full breath in and out. We'll let the arms go. We'll come back in with your legs. And if you're comfortable here, you might just settle yourself right here where you are. 5 minutes, 4 minutes of Shavasana. If you need to make any adjustments, of course, you might make those adjustments to environment, to the support you might want for your head, your knees. And scan your way either upward from feet to head or from head to feet. So you might just very methodically just unwind from tension. Let go of everything you can, maybe in one big brush of your breath. Allow your breath to find its way to something very soft, quiet. Let's finish Shavasana here, another 2 or 3 breaths. A big stretch, if you want the big stretch, or just a little bit of movement, if you want that little bit of movement, shift yourself from back onto your side. seat. Press yourself up slowly from your side. We'll close our practice here. Thank you as always for your time. Namaste. Until we come together again, practice in the spirit of a practice. Enjoy the rest of your evening.